What will happen if we all eat acorns from the trees around us? Will we become one with the earth? Hope so. Let's gather acorns. The most basic way to find acorns is to look for them on the ground. Acorns usually drop in the fall, and if the squirrels don't get them, may be harvested until spring when they sprout. Oaks have broad leaves on branches that are often spread out and gnarly. Acorns are an important part of the wildlife food chain. With due respect for nature, take only what you can eat. This tree is a tan oak. It's an important link between the chestnut and the oak. The acorns are good. These are the undersides of tan oak leaves. Oaks are good neighbors with conifers, like this young redwood. A broad view of the forest shows that all species are important. Living oaks produce food year after year. To identify an oak, you need to get close and look at the leaves. The Latin word for oak is quercus, meaning beautiful tree. There are over 600 varieties of these beautiful trees across the planet. Look in a field guide for the oaks which grow in your region. In the California and Oregon coastal ranges, you may find this canyon live oak, also known as Quercus chrysopolis. The Yokaia Indian name is jesh. These acorns will grow to maybe 2 inches long. This little bush is also a canyon live oak. The underside of the leaves have tiny yellow hairs. Some Native Americans continue to gather from oaks. Some families in the past ate 2,000 pounds in a year. The acorn has a dietary tradition among old European and Asian tribes too. Ah, there's the silhouette of a black oak. The acorns make very good bread. The leaves are 4 to 6 inches long. At first I thought the tree on the left to be an oak. The leaves reveal it to be a maple. This maple seed is definitely not an acorn. Look in a field guide for the oaks which grow in your region. Then look at the leaves to make the identification. The Acorns and Eat'em cookbook includes a field guide for oaks in the United States. This is the California black oak, Quercus californica, Quercus kelloggi. It's the most popular acorn with the Northern California Native Americans. The acorns make really good bread. The acorns are 1 inch long, and the cup that holds the acorn is thick and heavy. These leaves both came off of this tree. See their bristle tooth. It's brand new growth, and this tree bears acorns every other year.
These are tan oak acorns which have been gathered in the springtime after they have sprouted. Selecting acorns which have sprouted is one way to avoid worms because an infested acorn won't sprout. Sprouted acorns have already split themselves open, making them much easier to shell. Sprouted acorns are sweeter and leach faster. This one is perfect. Notice how this one is split. This sprout is too long. When the roots become gnarly, reminiscent of the branches of certain varieties of oak, they become bitter, so avoid gnarly roots.
I like the wheelbarrow because it's easier from a distance, and I can move it.
You can go to the supermarket and see flowers there, but there's nothing like wild flowers and wild food. Ordinarily, the rule for acorns is, you gotta whack 'em to crack 'em. Sometimes, if you're lucky and you get 'em when they're sprouted just right, or if you have strong hands, you can simply split 'em apart with your bare hands like this. But you usually gotta whack 'em.
I've got the acorns here, and they've been dried out a little bit. You can see that they're sprouted, and some of them I yanked the tips off. And I have a basket here where I toss all the shells and the rotten ones. I just toss them in here, and I'll throw them in the fire. It makes a great little bit of kindling. But you whack it. You gotta whack it. got this stone down at the river. You can get them at the beach too. You have to look around for them, but it fits my hand real nice. Didn't cost me anything. I did this in just a few minutes. You don't have to worry about winnowing them, because when you put the acorns through the blender and leach them out, the skin will come to the top and it will get poured off because it'll be light. So you don't have to worry about peeling them. These are whole acorns. After I crack them, I just put them in a Ziploc bag and throw them in the freezer. I simply take the acorns, put them in the blender with water, and I liquefy them. After blending, the acorns settle to the bottom and the tannic acid will rise to the top in the water. Every day for a week, I pour the water off and I put fresh water in. After a week, I'll take the whole jar and pour it in a pan and boil it for about 10 minutes, stirring constantly. Then I let it cool. After it cools, I pour the mush into containers like this and I keep it in the freezer. When I'm ready to use the acorn, I take it out of the freezer, I thaw it out, and it's like this. It separates from the water, and you can squeeze all the water out, and this is what I cook with. This is what I put in milkshakes. This is what I put in omelets and enchiladas. How about an acorn cheesecake? I kid you not. In a whole wheat crust, I've got 1 package, 8 ounce of cream cheese, a half a cup of brown sugar, 3 egg whites, and a half a cup of bleached ground acorns.
Yes, but is the cheesecake good? Ask Mr. Zucchini. Sue Ellen entered an acorn cheesecake at the Hayward Zucchini Festival Cooking Contest. The judges may not have realized that they were getting magnesium, calcium, potassium, phosphorus, sulfur, and other minerals from the acorns. The judges were probably more concerned with taste than nutrition, but acorns are nutritious indeed. While the content varies from species to species, this analysis of the black oak acorn is a good indication. There's Mr. Zucchini. The contest is about to start. The contestants prepare their dishes. There's the cheesecake. Sue Ellen topped that cake with strawberries. The judges didn't leave very much.
There were over 100 applicants had submitted recipes. Third prize is acorn zucchini cheesecake from Sue Ocean of Willits.
I've written this book called Acorns and Eat'em. It's a how-to book on harvesting and cooking with acorns. All the directions, everything you need to know, including a field guide to oaks and over 30 different acorn recipes. As I've been promoting this book, people have a lot of questions, some of them coming up over and over again. What about the worms? The acorn worm is actually a type of weevil. This weevil bores a hole in the shell and eats the inside. A few acorns from every batch may be infested. Separate the bad acorns when handling. I believe that harvesting acorn helps reduce the weevil infestation. What about the tannic acid in acorns? You remove tannic acid by rinsing the acorns in water. If you don't rinse them enough, the acorn meal will be bitter. Tannic acid is what gives tea its bitter flavor. Are all acorns edible? To my knowledge, all acorns are edible. There are a few, though, that are either too small or too bitter to bother with. How time-consuming is it? You don't need very many acorns. I gathered these in about 5 minutes. This bag will yield several cups of acorn meal. A cup of acorns has a lot of food value. I can prepare a cup of raw acorn meal from whole acorns in about 10 minutes. The acorns leach in the refrigerator for a week, but require just a moment of attention each day. In a typical recipe, I would use 1/4 cup of leached acorns per serving. I estimate this bag to be about 12 servings. What about the fat content in acorns? More research needs to be done. I found one source that says the fat content for black oak acorns is 11.05% and another study says 13.55%. Once you prepare acorns, you'll find they vary even within their species. When was the fat content of the acorn decided? Before or after the leaching process? The leaching process rinses a lot of the oil out. You can feel the oil in the milky water that rinses from the ground meal. Acorn meal that we just did, it hasn't settled yet, but this has been sitting in the refrigerator. See the 3 layers? Here is the acorn meal. Both these 2 layers are our acorn meal that we want to keep. This is the leaching water that every day we pour off and then add fresh water. going to make my acorn version of the Middle Eastern dish hummus. Okay, I need 1 cup of these acorns. They've been pre-cooked, bleached, frozen. Okay. Okay, good. Spoonful of salsa. Two cups cooked garbanzo beans. Clove of garlic. 1/4 teaspoon of salt. Okay. Oh, 1/2 teaspoon of thyme.